guys, I am making this video because I'm fairly new to virtual teletherapy, but I have been enjoying it immensely and it's where I want to stay. And over the last 6 months or so, I've kind of discovered a love of green screen. And so I wanted to kind of give you guys some tips and tricks. I did a training on green screens this last year and I've learned a bunch of it through trial and error. And so I thought it would have been very helpful for me to have a video that I could look at to teach me some of these tricks. So I thought I would do that for you guys. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to talk about. So if you use Zoom, it's going to be a lot easier. I use Google Meet, or if you use a different program other than either of those, what I'm saying for Google Meet will work for you. I use Google Meet because I find it to be a little bit more HIPAA compliant and because of the ownership that my district has in Google Meet. But if you are using Zoom, it's going to be a lot simpler. So just throwing that out there, but anything where I say when you're in Google Meet, take that with a grain of salt and realize that that could be any program other than Zoom. So you're going to use Zoom as your base program. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm doing in Zoom first, and then I'll show you how I kind of modify that to make that work for Google Meet and those other programs. So I am going to open up Zoom. I'm going to pull it over here so you guys can see it. I'm going to start a new meeting. And at the moment, I'm going to join with my computer audio, start my video. And you can see what I was doing earlier with one of my students. He really likes spiders. But what we're going to do is, how I've put this behind me is in the video section. If you hit that little caret there and choose virtual background. Now, if my color wasn't quite right and it was getting a little fuzzy, if you hit that button I just did down here, you hit the little green, and then you click on a part of your green screen, it's going to match the color to your background, so it makes it cleaner. So that way you don't get a little bit fuzzy around the edges. I would caution you, if you are wearing a green outfit, that's going to make things a little bit more complicated when you are using green screen, because it will show that image on your green outfit as well as the green screen behind you. So what I have here is, this is how I'm going to actually manipulate my slides. So if I was going to do this activity I have where I have the spiders falling down behind me, I'll scoot this over so you can see it a little bit better. I would actually do this as I'm doing the activity. But so that it doesn't kind of mess up the look of it, I would pull this off into one of my other monitors. I actually have 3 screens that I use for my teletherapy, and that just makes things a lot easier. In order to do this green screen activity, you really need at least 2 screens in order to manipulate on one side and to actually share what you're doing with your student on the other one. So if I am in a Zoom meeting, all I have to do is this, and then I am changing what's happening around me. All my spiders are coming down. I'm talking about describing things and what are they wearing. And then here comes my big one. And oh my goodness. And so you can just really react to what's going on around you, and the kids love it. I've gotten some really wonderful giggles and some really good engagement from some of my students that really struggle with the virtual world. So it takes a little while to get used to trying to pay attention to your student here and then manipulating what's going on the other side. So as I get to know my activity, I don't have to look over as much and I can just play with it. But the first few times, it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult. Now, if I look back at what I have here, I have several different activities that I've saved. And so the way you put these in is when you have a background that you want to add, I would again go down to that caret and I'm going to hit choose virtual background again. And now in here, I can add new backgrounds. So I'd hit this little plus, add image, and add whatever it is I need. So these are the different backgrounds that I've added. Um, and but since they're already in here, I'm not going to add them again. What I have is, so you add them one piece at a time. It does take some time to do that. And look, I can actually click over with my arrow and not even have to click and just make it go. It's super cool. I just discovered that. So that's going to be fun. I don't have to pay as much attention. I can just click it over. I'm excited about that. But if I look back at this, in between each of my activities, I've added just some black. That way, it's much easier to find the distinction between your activities, so you don't have to spend as much time scrolling and trying to find the start. So each of them are here, and I've added them in, and now I can go play, and I can just have a grand old time. So the way that you make this work now, for if you have Google Meet or if you have another program, I'm still going to use Zoom as what I'm manipulating. But with my Google Meet, I am going to open up a Google Meet. So let me open one up for you so that you can kind of see what we are doing. And one moment. So I'll open up my Google Meet here. And I know that's covering up what I'm doing with Zoom, but I'm going to explain it in a second how that's going to work. Now, when I start my Google Meet, my camera is not going to work because my camera is already being used for my Zoom. The way I would make that work is if I wanted to start my session, and I typically do, with them just seeing me and not being distracted by the background, the first thing I would have to do before I start this meet is I actually need to exit out of this, because this video is always going to be here, and then stop your video here. Once you stop it here, you can start it back up in your Google Meet. You have to have only one video program going at a time in order for it to register that video. That was something that took me a lot of frustration to figure out. So I'm going to join my Google Meet here, and what I have is just my green screen back behind me. And what I'm going to do so that my students can see my my Zoom activity, I'm gonna move it to my other screen so that it's out of my way, is I'm going to share my entire screen where the Zoom is. I'm going to turn off my video on my Google Meet and turn on my video on my Zoom, and now they can see what I'm sharing. The only trick with this is you only need the audio to be coming from one program at a time, or else it's going to be awful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the audio on my Zoom, have the audio on my Google Meet. My camera will be on the Zoom, and it'll be off on my Google Meet. Now, if I want to do my green screen activity, I'm all done with that. I want to move on to something else. I can turn off the audio on the Google Meet, turn the audio back on, turn off the audio on the Zoom, turn the audio back on my Google Meet, and then I'm back to normal. And I can do whatever it is I need to do. So hopefully that helps you at least get started, get some ideas of how to get it going, play around with it. I might make some more videos for some of the things that we're doing. We're having a lot of fun with this. I just got this giant green screen about 3 days ago. We've been having a lot of fun, and I hope you do too.